True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been staring at this screen for some time now, wondering how to respond to that statement, or if it even requires a response. I mean, can we go home yet? Surely I don't need to be here. At this point, the most effective and prolific recruiters of anti-feminism are feminists. Emma Watson has personally deconverted way more people from feminism than I ever could, because she's taken it upon herself to show the world what everyday prominent feminists are like, and what their empty-headed, burned-out shells of excuses for philosophies are like. And all Emma can say in response is, yeah.
True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
These are not radical fucking fringe feminists, folks. They are moderate, popular, ubiquitous feminists. And right here you can see the two main kinds of feminist. Caitlin Moran is the kind who is too contemptuous to realise how stupid she is, and Emma Watson is the kind who is too stupid to realise how contemptuous she is. So between them they create two halves of a person. But not the good halves. They create two halves of a completely ethically detached person. So they can release this nonsensical, hateful, and completely unproductive statement, and then just go, yeah, that's fine. Can confirm. That sounds like compassion to me.
True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
It's not just that you openly despise men and that you demonstrate it brazenly like it's perfectly normal. That's part of the course. What I can't get my head around is that you also aspire to be like men. Or rather, the demonized, animalized version of men you see in your head is what you aspire to be. I mean, it is typical for humans to have a collective concept of an other, an invented antagonist on whom they cast all their sins and project all their shortcomings. But such a fabricated enemy is typically accompanied by the rule, don't be like those people. Don't be like the evil other. Those people are stupid and immoral, they're lazy and rude, they're emotionally unintelligent, they're abhorrent to the senses and they don't care, so you shouldn't be like them. You know, just don't be a Jew, don't be a nigger. Be an upstanding citizen instead of those things. That sort of thing. People use their hatred of the other people in order to control their own people into acting more morally. They use hate as an excuse for higher standards. Whereas you guys have this whole new system where you can say men are dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, and joyful and idiotic, and we should be just like them. You are using hate as an excuse for lower standards. You've decided half the human race is subhuman, therefore you get to do whatever you like. And then, by the way, you followed it up with this.
You know, it's not being perfect, it's just being treated as a human being.
So you're aware of such a phenomenon as treating a human like a subhuman. Because, Caitlin, you just described men as though they are animals. Not even primates. That series of adjectives you just used there, they are all an uncanny match with the typical properties of a household pet. And then you complained that you're not being treated like a human being.
True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
You know, it's not being perfect, it's just being treated as a human being.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard anyone say. And I include all the sick shit and all the stupid shit. Most of the worst things I've heard are either really sick or really stupid. But that shit was just enough of both to break the record in overall volume. I do not understand how you can be that sick and that stupid at the same time. How do you pull off that much contempt with that much incompetence? I thought statistic people at least had to be just empathetic enough to figure out what pain is. But you proved me wrong. It's like you have two brain cells to rub together, yet you figured out how to create enough sparks to burn people's houses down. If you can say that shit with a straight face, Caitlin Moran, then I can safely say your entire education was a failure. We should not have wasted the valuable time and resources of our school teachers by teaching you to read, write, or even speak a verbal language, because all you do with it is break it, and abuse it, and make people's lives worse with it. That is you failing miserably at your education proficiency test. I haven't quote-mined this, by the way. This is the question she was answering.
Okay, Jenny wants to know, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the feminist movement in 2016? For people who really want to do something, book clubbers, beyond reading, what are some of the concrete things you think they can do, direct action, that can be taken to fight for change?
Concrete. What are the concrete things we could do, Caitlin? When someone asks me that, I might say something like custody rights, contraception, and circumcision, because those are human rights issues still yet to be addressed in my own country of residence. I'd say women are granted custody rights, reproductive rights, and bodily integrity. When men have those things as well, we'll at least have something closer to equality under the law. But let's hear you give some examples of concrete things you can do.
I think the biggest challenge is, again, it comes back down to tone.
You want a different tone of concrete. You don't have any fucking concrete, but you know what colour you want it in. Might it be a subtle shade of ocean grey?
Yeah.
Feminism has become such a big hot potato. You know, it's a hot newsworthy subject now in America, in the UK, and in parts of Europe in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago. You could not get arrested if you wanted to talk about feminism.
My face went. Yeah, spot on, Caitlin. Spot fucking on. Yeah, that's a concrete thing we can do. Stop arresting the people who challenge you. Who challenge feminism. Can you listen to your detractors rather than just telling the police they harassed you? Can we at least go back to just calling them misogynists? That was a lot less despotic. Or are you worried that doesn't stand up anymore? That tactic doesn't fly anymore? When calling people names no longer works, the only trick you got left up your sleeve is getting a mob of misinformed henchmen to break down the door. Whistle.
Now, they are commissioning stuff every week. It's a huge clickbait thing. People want to read about feminism.
Clickbait's not a good thing, Caitlin. It's a term of ridicule. Never mind.
But many people have been put off feminism in the last couple of years because the tone gets so heated. We've had feminism wars.
Yeah.
First of all, people will argue and fight all the time. That's absolutely fine. We can't go, oh, two women have disagreed with each other. It's a catfight. That proves women shouldn't be able to speak in public. Feminism is dead.
This isn't answering the question at all, Caitlin. She asked you about concrete and you're talking about tone. No matter which fucking metaphor we're using this in, those are completely different things. I think this is just a piece of blurb that you prepared. You're not actually listening to each other, are you? Emma has some questions to read out, and Caitlin has some sound bites she's going to recite. And then we're going to sit them down together and have them speak alternately so it looks like they're interacting with each other.
It's like, allow women the weakness to be able to argue and fight like men would.
Yeah.
It's the go-to excuse for everything, isn't it? Why did you steal from your employer? Well, men steal wages from women, so it's only fair. Why did you drive away with a gas pump still in? Well, men do it all the time. I was just taking the power back. Why did you murder your baby? Well, men have been getting away with it for centuries. It's about time women get to kill babies.
True equality is not being perfect immediately and being some superhero who has an amazing job and incredible hair and a pelvic floor and a tiny little stomach and two children who are perfectly well turned out. That's exhausting.
Yes. Caitlin, aspirations do tend to be exhausting, just like engines tend to be exhausting. Do you think women should have to exhaust fuel in order to get somewhere? Or should they be able to sit down and get magically transported wherever they want to go? Like men obviously do. Yeah, it's a trick question, Caitlin. We already know the answer because this is where we came in.
That's exhausting. True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
It's not being perfect, it's just being treated as a human being.
And that was your answer to what other concrete things we could do. What direct action can be taken to fight for change? And that's your answer. Women shouldn't aspire to be healthy or employed or good parents. No, that's far too exhausting. No. They should aspire to be dim, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic. Yeah, and in the meantime, we really should be forcing men to get high-earning jobs to pay for children they didn't decide to have. Has anyone thought of that yet? I'm not sure if I can be bothered with the rest of the video. I'm not sure I can stomach anything else you have to say, Caitlin. But I wanted to make this response because you've already perfectly encapsulated what's wrong with your ideology. You've tasked yourself with changing reality, but you have no fucking clue what reality is like. Your brain is upside down, so you go around adjusting all the pictures so they're the other way up. And you think you're doing everyone a favour, but all you're doing is creating a world of upside down things. I mean, Emma Watson's right there. Why don't you ask her? Hey, Emma, why don't you be more smelly and scruffy like men are? She might reply, I'd rather be attractive and presentable. It's not as though I'm a garbage collector or something. Like men are. I mean, that's it, isn't it? You never wanted to be a garbage collector like your weird Uncle Derek. You wanted to be a business executive like your cool Uncle Charles. And you think you deserve it because vagina. But it turns out that's not enough either. You want to be a business executive, but you want to turn up to work looking like a sewage worker and swearing like a trooper. Which you also think you deserve because vagina. Yet companies all over the continent welcome you and your demands with open arms and then wonder why their business is going down the pan.
Yeah.
It's everyone waving a placard at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
So we've seen all the placards, we know what all the issues are now.
Yeah.
Now we need to move it somewhere where we have these conversations. And in terms of, so that's the bad stuff. The good news is that there are places where you can have these conversations. Like,
yeah.
Emma, when you're like 40 something and you're publishing your first memoir, what are you going to say about this? There was a period in my life when I spoke to a lot of feminists, and yeah. Well, I like whoever ends up ghostwriting Emma Watson's biography for her. How do you intend to get into the head of your subject? And do you think you're going to find much in there? Yeah.
one of the most hopeful things that's happened in this country in the last couple of years is the formation of the Women's Equality Party.
Cool. How do you feel about the formation of the Justice for Men and Boys Party? Is that the wrong kind of justice? Because it's legal rather than social?
Yeah, no, direct action is super cool.
Leg end.
If you do think that one of the things you want to do on Earth is make the world a better place,
yeah,
which is what being a feminist is, what being a decent person is, then you have to make sure that you are aware of what you are subconsciously thinking about anybody who speaks up.
Having any reactions to me there, Caitlin? Are you finding yourself resistant to the things I'm saying because you find me dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, and joyful and idiotic? Oh, wait, that's not what you're subconsciously thinking. That's what you're consciously articulating. So what do you suppose that suggests about what you are subconsciously thinking? Might it translate into some less than rosy feelings about men?
Yeah.
Because I think we have this subconscious belief that someone can only speak up if they are perfect and have the answers to everything.
No one's asking you to be perfect, Caitlin. We're just asking for you to say something that makes any fucking sense outside the confines of your never-ending helter-skelter of hypocrisy. If I were to demand perfection from you, it would take the form of continually and indiscriminately calling you a dim, fat, deluded, nut, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful idiot, no matter how perfect you become. Does that sound familiar, Caitlin? I'm just going to listen to Emma now. She has very much set herself up as the funny one in this scene.
Yeah.
We are basically waiting for a feminist Jesus to come along who's going to write the feminist Bible that has everything in it, or has written the feminist TV show that has everything and everyone in it, or makes the film that tells the story of everyone.
Yeah.
And that is, of course, impossible.
Yeah.
I'm banana.
Yeah.
You make sure you're all working together. You make sure that everybody's squares are equal.
Yeah.
But you make sure that we're working on this together. Feminism is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
It's not waiting for one feminist Jesus to come along.
Yeah.
Usually I have to sort of poop the clips together before I'm laughing this hard at it. But after... Fuck me. Bravo, Emma. But since we're near the end, I might as well. I can't believe I managed to make this fun. Now I remember why I do this. Alright, there's going to be nothing but poop till the end of this, folks. If you don't like it, go grab a bag of Eat My Dick.
Because I think if women were inventing social media platforms, they would be completely different to Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, but to lose this massive well of wisdom and resource as men means that we are never going to progress past a certain point. We make ourselves weak.
Yeah.
You know, it's like allow women the weakness to be able to argue and fight like men would.
Yeah.
Because I think if women were inventing social media platforms, they would be completely different to Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, but to lose this social media platform means that we are never going to progress past a certain point. We make ourselves weak.
Yeah.
It's like allow women the weakness to be able to argue and fight like men would.
Yeah.
Because I think if women were inventing social media platforms, we make ourselves weak. Allow women the weakness to make ourselves weak. That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
Allow women the weakness. You flood with adrenaline.
Yeah.
You're panicky, you're angry, and you respond in fear and anger.
Yeah.
You don't have the strength to allow women the weakness.
Yeah.
You're panicky, you're angry.
Yeah.
That's a conversation.
Yeah.
True equality.
Yeah.
True equality. You know, some days I wish I was Jeremy Clarkson. I could just get up, say 10 absolutely, untenable, horrendous things before breakfast. I could just get up, say 10 absolutely, untenable, horrendous things. True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful, and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
Bagsy no returns.
Yeah.
You know, nothing happens.